joke, I've been a money maker. I've been a record breaker, taking credit as an educator. I've been known to spit the flows and make it shaky, shaky thing. Popping, locking, stopping, let it hang. Watch us as we drop this hip hop, it's like it stings. We make the whole room drop and everybody sing. We want the funk. We gotta have that funk. We kick it old school. We think we're so cool. We take it back to the past. We gonna act a fool. Up jumps the middle finger, make my day.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Sports Buzz, a Fanatical View. I am your host, Scott D. Lewis, here live in studio, Comcast Cable, Channel 23, downtown Danbury, Connecticut, on this February 7th, 2019. And it is the first show since the last Super Bowl. So that means I'm in a good mood. Once again, another year, another victory. That's all I can say. But weather a little bit warmer this week, actually. Not so bad. Rainy, very spring-like, in fact, in the early part of the week, and very damp like spring. Not typical winter. Who knows what's going on out there? But we are here, 6:30 to 7, ready to roll. Phone lines open early and often, 203-792-4101 for anybody who wants to call in and say hello to me, or maybe say hello to my right-hand man, Mr. Bob Raw Jr., who is in the correct hot seat once again.
Mic'd up.
Mic'd up. What's that? Who's it? You're on. You got your microphone on, right? There's two microphones out here, Bob. What's going on? What is the situation? Don't kick the camera. Why is this happening to start the show? Strange man, help him out. There's a second microphone there. He's probably sitting on it. Unbelievable. This is on live television. Strange man is here. How you doing there, strange man in the back? Well, you can talk too, strange man, because you're on microphone as well. I'm dying out here. No one will answer me. I'm trying to talk. Strange man's giving hand signals. Bob is on the microphone.
Can you hear me now?
Hey, what a show. What a show. So, Bob is back in the hot seat in his correct spot. Let's start that all over again. How's it going there, Bob?
It's fine.
Nice.
Boring Super Bowl.
Boring. Bob is lamenting, like most people are, the boringness of this past Super Bowl. But in the end, as Gronkowski said, it doesn't matter if it's ugly, it matters if you win. And we won another one.
Congratulations on another Super Bowl.
Yes, very happy about it.
His number 9th.
His sixth in 9, 6 and 3 for Brady and Belichick. We'll get into all that. Bob's Show Spotlight on Tuesday nights at 9, Wednesdays at 12. Connor is here, sitting in the green room, of course, watching some YouTube channel. Not pulling the...
Jenna couldn't make it tonight. She's got some other stuff going on.
Jenna, who likes to help out with the show. Connor used to help out with the show. Now he just likes to watch his YouTube channels, watching people play video games on a YouTube channel. That's where it's come to these days with these kids. Strange Man is here, and he's behind Bob. Say hello there, Strange Man.
I'm in the cheap seats for the second week in a row.
We like the cheap seats back there. Tyler has returned. Tyler was actually here last night, but we didn't let him in the door. Much like the NFL didn't let his Saints into the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
We made a bad call. Nobody answered the door, so Tyler couldn't get in, but he is back here. Word on the street, up in the high school ranks, boring Super Bowl. Yeah. That's what everybody said in high school, Bob, so they're right there with you. The kid saying it was not a great Super Bowl. He was happy to see some action late as things got a little intense in the fourth quarter. And guess who's back? Swero's back.
Yes.
So guess who's back? Swero's back. Directing once again. I'm not going to say this is going to be a habit.
I hope so. We
hope it is, but we're happy that he's here second week in a row. So that's good. I think we got our introductions underway with that. So, yeah, what do you think there, Bob? Super Bowl LII, or should we get into Strange Man? Let him take care of some of his wrap-up
from
his stuff. Get him doing his thing. What do you got for us, Strange Man?
Well, I made
talking Super Bowl.
I made 2 telephone calls before I listened to the Super Bowl, and one was my buddy Mr. Richard Cooper, United States Air Force veteran, Vietnam era, and he picked the Patriots to win. He said by about 3 to 7 points, and he's like, I don't know, Patriots, Rams. I'm like, Rich, come on, just you're gonna pick one. So he said, I'll go with the Patriots, and he said, I hope it's a good game. So he hit it right on, but Mr. Jim Silva, he picked the Rams, 23-19, and that was a big oops.
So Strange Man, again, I think this is the second week in a row, 1-1 for your buddies. Predictions, right? Last week we had one that had it right with the championship games and one that had it wrong.
Yeah, so Richard Cooper picked both W's.
Oh, he had
the AFC and NFC,
Uh-huh.
and then he had the Patriots for the Super Bowl.
All right, you got anything else for us?
Any
other random phone calls?
And I have great announcements. The Patriots won! Now, wait a second, Scotty. What did the host say? Did the host go with the underdog? All right, I'm out of here.
Oh, that's right. You picked the Rams. That's
right. Well, that was my reverse mojo. I have, there's certain things you got to do as a fan, and there's certain things you got to do as a sports show host, and there's certain things you got to play it out. So
yeah, but everybody's was picking the Patriots, though, except for one guy on the dais the other night.
Hey, I did not think the Patriots are a Super Bowl team this year, but they got it done anyway, so I'm certainly happy about that. But I have my reasons for making predictions, and they're not always based on what I really think. That's a little inside, behind the scenes, breaking down the veil of TV. I mean, what do you think? People come up on TV and say what they really think?
Sometimes they do.
Sometimes they do. A lot of times they don't. And that's the way it goes. All right, so 13-3 was the final score. Patriots-Rams, I should mention Mike McFadden should be joining us too. We'll see what he thought of it. So 0-0 after the first quarter. 3-0 at half, 3-3 at the end of three, final 13-3. If you had the numbers 3, you came up big in the boxes.
Yeah, you were fine, but none of my numbers matched anything.
A lot of people disappointed with those numbers for the boxes. So defense was the story of the game. It was the lowest scoring game in NFL Super Bowl history. I went back and looked at some of the lowest scoring games previous, and they all basically were in the first 10. The lowest scoring one was Super Bowl VII, Dolphins-Redskins, 46 years ago, 14-7. Ooh. Dolphins won it. Second lowest scoring, Super Bowl IX, Steelers-Vikings, 16-6. Purple People Eaters and the Steel Curtain playing defense in those games. And Super Bowl III, Jets-Colts, the famous declaration by Joe Namath, the prediction that went right. 16-7, Jets upset the Colts in the greatest upset ever and put the AFC on the map and the AFL after the merger. And then Super Bowl VI, Cowboys-Dolphins, 24-3. Super Bowl V, Colts-Cowboys, 16-3. So you had a couple other times where teams only scored 3 points.
But still, that was, for both teams to go and score 3 points to
going into the fourth quarter. It was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
In most recent vintage, the Broncos-Panthers game from a few years ago, Super Bowl 50, the final score ended up being 24-10. I think defense scored some points for the Broncos in that game because that was a pretty ugly low score. And that just talks to perception. The the Broncos, went into that Super Bowl, and the Panthers as well, as big defensive teams. So when two defensive teams enter the game, the perception is if there's a defensive battle, it's not a bad game because you're expecting defense.
Right.
But in this circumstance, you expect the Patriots to put up points offensively. The Rams scored over 30 points a game this year, so they're an offensive team. You didn't think these teams had powerhouse defenses. So when they actually put together great game plans and play great defense, particularly the Patriots, the Rams played excellent defense too. I thought the Patriots offensively made more mistakes than the Rams did. I thought the Rams were more shut down by the Patriots defense than the Patriots were by the Rams defense. But when that happens, you think it's ugly instead of saying, imagine if the Bears of this year had made it to the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody would have been, saying this unbelievable Bears defense.
Right.
So when the Patriots actually play defense, give them the credit that's due and say, you know, everybody complained that the scores were so high this year in the NFL and that defensive has been taken out of the game with the rule changes. So when it comes down to it in the postseason, when we were starting to see more and more defense as the postseason went on and it culminated with this great defensive battle, celebrate it and say these guys stepped up. The Patriots had tremendous game plan and then execution to go along with it.
I'm just glad somebody scored in the fourth quarter, because otherwise that would have been overtime, and
Well,
that would have been a really long game.
Yeah, right? Because that could have gone on forever. If the Rams had tied it at 10 before the late interception by Stephen Gilmore, the Patriots are bringing pressure all game long, mostly from the linebacker position. But on that final drive, they brought the double safety blitz. And the pressure came right at Goff, and he lofted that ball down toward the end zone, and there is Gilmore right there with the interception, basically sealed the deal, keep it from getting to be a 10-10 game. Because you're right, it could have been overtime, and who knows how long that could have gone.
We would have been sitting there until after midnight.
And here we see Edelman was the MVP. I mean, he is just a monster, Bob. His postseason pedigree is cemented in stone now. He's very close to passing Jerry Rice for all time on the postseason receptions list.
Right.
And again, he just could not be stopped. I thought possibly they could have given it, but I don't know to who on the defense. They could have just given it to the overall Patriots defense more than Edelman. Edelman had the stats and a great performance, but his catches, unlike Gronk's, did not lead to any real points. You know, he was keeping them with possession and he was helping them move the ball, but a lot of his catches didn't lead to any actual points scored. Gronk stepped up huge on that game-winning touchdown drive and came up with the two big catches, the first one down the sideline on the right, and then the one down by the goal line where defense is really all over him. A beautiful pass by Brady, floats it in between 2-3 defenders, and he's falling back on his back, comes up with the catch down by the goal line, almost rolled in for the touchdown, but Sony Michel ends up getting the touchdown. I think, was he the first running back to get as a rookie to get a touchdown? I mean, Michel was huge in the playoffs for them, scoring touchdowns, I think, in every game. Remember, he scored 3 in the first half of his first game ever as a running back in the NFL against the Chargers. Tremendous performance by him. He ended up with 90-something yards rushing. They did commit to the run. You know, they started with the run early. They kind of got away from it, which I thought was a little bit short-sighted. I wanted them to stick to it. Second half, they went back to it. They got more balance. And then they iced the game with the big runs after the interception, because really the Rams could have got the ball back with 2 minutes plus.
Yeah, but I mean the Rams were. How many times they got? I mean, they intercepted twice, right?
Right.
And they didn't do nothing. They didn't get anything out of it.
Yeah, well, they had the interception on the first pass by Brady, because remember the Patriots started that first possession of the game by driving with the run. 3-4 big runs in a row. Looked like they were going to continue what they had been doing all playoffs long, running the ball, and then coming up with some passes. Brady threw a terrible pass. Ball got deflected up into the air. Brady was off all game long. I don't know. I talked actually to Strangeman before on the ride in. You know, it was a little bit warmer down in Atlanta. They had the roof opened for the flyover. Right. And then they closed the roof.
And then they reopened it when they had the
for a halftime
show. Yeah, and then they closed it again. I think they would have been better off leaving it open.
I think so too. Some fresh air in there, because it seemed like it was humid in the building.
Yeah.
If you noticed, the players, and I noticed it early, there was that perspiration you get from, you know, being in a humid climate.
Right.
Not necessarily the sweat from running around. And that could have had effect on the players. You know, the Patriots have been playing, they played that very cold game against the Chargers.
You know, so they're used to cold
weather. There was
weather.
Arctic blast going on up here. They played that tremendously cold game in Kansas City. And there we see the Gronk play. And it was just great to see Gronk come up huge and really contribute in every way he could, blocking for the running game. And he opened up a big hole late as they were icing the clock and set up that game, the final points, the field goal. And then he came up with the big catches as well to set up. I thought he could have got the MVP just based on that. They had to give it to Edelman because he had all the stats. But again, it could have been a defensive player.
Right.
But which one would it have been? Gilmore made the interception, but that was, besides coverage, he didn't have any other necessarily big plays. There was a bunch of guys on the line causing havoc, but it was a
Right.
whole bunch of them doing it at different spots. So it was just a brilliant game plan and execution by the defense, and it was just great. What did you think of the halftime show there, Bob?
No comment.
It is funny. I mean, you know, I didn't.
Let's put it this way: they could have had myself. If they had a country and western act, maybe it would have been more.
Well, you know what I thought? I lived in Atlanta for a long time, and I've talked to some people recently, and he would make sense because he is actually on tour right now. A lot of people don't know this. Elton John has lived in Atlanta for decades. He's made that his home for years, and he is the king, or some say the queen of
however you want to put
Atlanta.
it. Yeah.
He's heavily involved in the music scene down there and in the arts world, and he's just a presence in the city of Atlanta. I think they could have reached out to him. Of course, we know there's a huge hip-hop scene. They kind of filtered that in with Big Boy coming in. And we have McFadden, the Met Jet Maniac, showing up. We'll get him mic'd up and see what he thinks about things. So, you know, the Atlanta music scene was not happy about who they chose, Maroon 5, who put forth a lackluster, you know, their music is just not real memorable.
No, I mean,
I only knew one of the songs, really.
I mean, I would have rather heard anybody else.
But they could have done a tremendous hip-hop show, and there is also, like you mentioned, some good country western that comes out of Atlanta.
Especially Atlanta.
But to make everybody happy, I think it could have been Atlanta's chosen son there, or their adopted son, Elton John. I mean, he's lived there for 30 years, and he is on tour right now, so it's not like he's not performing. He could have done a great show, would have made everybody happy. I will say this much, hats off to Gladys Knight for the tremendous. She is, I don't know if that's her hometown, but I know she has also lived in Atlanta for many years. Fun fact, Bob.
What's that?
I was part of the production team and also an actor in a commercial for Gladys Knight's Chicken and Waffles restaurant back in the day.
When was
around
this?
2000. A guy I was doing independent filmmaking with had a connection to her and her restaurant. We went there a few times. I never met her herself, but we did do the commercials for her, and that was always a good time as the Fatty Roots music comes through the speakers all of a sudden. McFadden,
which reminds me of Fatty Roots. Okay.
Oh, it's a 10-minute warning.
10 minutes. I was going to say, the Fatty Roots, I got to see a little bit of it.
Did you watch some of it?
I watched some of it. It was very well. It came out very good.
Thank you very much, Bob. I'm really quite happy, quite proud of it. I know the band was real pleased with it, and everybody that's seen it has really had very positive things to say about it. There might be something else that gets done with it down the road, but right now we were happy to show it here 4 times. It's, of course, on YouTube. You can check that out, Fatty Roots Live and Direct. Just search that out. It'll come right up. A nice hour-long reggae concert film. Pretty good. The band delivered on all the performances, so that was great. But let's get McFadden's take here on this and what he thought of the Super Bowl and the NFL season coming crashing down in a very dramatic 13-3 defensive struggle.
Typical Patriots. That's all I have to say.
Just get it done. That's
typical Patriots.
Do your job. And this, hey, you know, they started their run in these Super Bowls by being a defensive-oriented team, and they started against the Rams, as a matter of fact. I think we got some photos of some previous celebrations. Maybe Suero could find that. But, you know, they started it all off by being a defensive-first team. So I've always said their chances rest mostly on the defense. It always comes down, most people think, to offense. But the games they lost, the defense didn't hold the lead late against your Giants, Bob.
Wow.
Both those games, Brady left the field with the lead. Patriots defense didn't finish the job. Eagles game, we know last year, of course, they couldn't get a stop all game long. Just think about what could have happened maybe if Malcolm Butler didn't have his incident before the game, and if he played,
right,
you know, they could have been winning another Super Bowl there. But last year, no defense whatsoever,
Right.
and they couldn't get enough offense to win it. And here we see great defense against the Seahawks to end it on the big, huge play by Malcolm Butler. So defense is a huge factor, and Belichick is known as a defensive guy. He came as a defensive coordinator for the Giants. It's where he got his start. So I'm thrilled when the defense gets it done. And, give Brady a break. Give the offense a break. Let the defense go out there and win it. And that's what they did, which is just tremendous. Patriots now tie the Steelers with 6 Super Bowl titles, most in the NFL. Patriots, of course, Belichick and Brady have been to 9. That's the most for any players to have 6. He passed Haley, Chris Haley, which Haley? What's his first name?
Charles Haley.
Charles
Haley.
Haley. Thank you, Mike. Had 5 Super Bowl victories with the Niners and the Cowboys combined. Brady now has 6, most by anyone, and they have 11 trips to the Super Bowl, more than any other team. And Belichick tied Papa George Halas and another coach for championships dating back to before the Super Bowl era with 6. So I don't know. I mean, what else do you say about it? They got it done. I was surprised that they made it, but once they got there, even with my prediction last week, I felt like they had a pretty good chance to win it, and I didn't think it would go the way it did, but that's the way it went, and now it's over, and we can move on.
Now we can move on to baseball.
Well, not yet, Bob. We got
Next
NBA
week.
trade deadline. Bob wants to talk about pitchers and catchers.
start this week, so.
Is Matt Barnes going to be the new closer for the Bethel native? Matt Barnes going to be the new closer for the Red Sox? We'll get to that later. We're going to have to start catching up on NBA and NHL. Trade deadline went down today. Of course, last week the big news right before the show last week was that the Knicks, poor Zingis, not so poor Zingis anymore. He's out of Dolan's shadow in New York, and he's teamed up with, probably not for long, we see him with Dirk Nowitzki in Dallas. Nowitzki's going to have to retire sometime, but Dallas does have a history of players of foreign descent coming. So there he is down in Dallas now as they made that head-scratching trade a week before the deadline. The deadline came and went today. A decent amount of things went down. Not the big thing with Anthony Davis, who is last week his agent informed the league basically that he wanted to get traded. Mike, what did you think? I've never really talked much basketball with you. You're a Knicks fan, right?
Mm-hmm. I'm a Knicks fan. Yeah.
What did you think about that head-scratching trade? Trading basically a star player. I have my concerns about Porzingis and his ability to stay healthy, but to free up cap space, not really ever done in the history of the NBA. What did you think of that?
I think that they talked with him, found out that they probably weren't going to resign him, and decided that let's try to get as much for him as we can. And I think when you look at it, I think they made a great move because now you have over $70 million in cap space.
Right.
I do think that they also have a pulse as to what these guys want to do. Fizdale is very close with a lot of the guys in the league. And for some reason, I think they know something in reference to the intention of some of these guys. Whether they will be able to pull that off, because obviously other things have to fall in place. But I think they do know that some of the guys want to come to New York.
Well, I mean, this is the problem with the NBA right now. It's all about the future and not the present. The games don't matter as much. The dialogue, as year in and year out, gotten worse and worse as far as what people talk about. And all they talk about is where players are going to be playing next year or 2 years from now, not what is actually happening on the court. The other thing that has gotten worse and worse is the tampering, which is coming more so probably from players in the league. Hello, LeBron James, who basically runs a talent agency, which he hides behind as he doesn't have his name on the actual agency. But his agent is Anthony Davis's agent, and he's wooing Davis, and he's always gotten deals done for his other agents' clients, which is why he had players come to Cleveland and team up with him there. So there's huge tampering aspects going on. Davis did get fined $50,000 because he is under contract, and his agent, not the team, his agent went out and basically told all the 30 other teams, I have a player who is under contract, being paid millions of dollars by the New Orleans Pelicans, who is free for you to come talk to and get put trade offers in, which is not the way the NBA wants to run. So that's a huge problem for the NBA and what's being done. But as far as the Knicks and their future, and if they're going to get these guys, Kevin Durant perhaps, Kyrie Irving, Durant, I thought, had a very interesting interview last night where he blasted the media saying, I come to work every day and I have to deal with these rumors. I know nobody from the Knicks. I have nothing to do with the Knicks. I don't know who traded Porzingis. You guys put these rumors out there. I've never said anything about it. You've never talked to me and got me to say anything about it. And meanwhile, you write 10 million articles about it. And I got to come in here and deal with my teammates who see it. And they say that this is what's going on. They think I'm leaving. I'm just trying to play basketball. And you guys want to write about who's going what and who's going where, and when you have nothing else to write about. Talk about the basketball games. We're trying to play basketball. So whether or not you believe him, we'll find out at the end of the season if he ends up going to the Knicks. But I thought it was interesting that he did come out and say that. We got 2 minutes left as the celebration begins. Who's going to be the cleaning team tonight, Strange Man?
He's leaving.
Patriots win, baby! #1!
Number 6. As Seinfeld would say, how about 6?
Next year!
6 is good. I like 6.
We got a minute left.
All right, we're not going to break down any more trades. Then maybe we'll get into that next week. Lakers at Boston tonight. Anthony Davis is not on the Lakers. They got blown out, the Lakers. The Fakers did, La La Land, by 43 points last night to the Pacers, who hadn't won a game since their star player was injured 2 weeks ago. So how about that for the Lakers and their fake show? All right, that's it. What do you guys say? Are you happy? You sad? Did we ruin your lives again with the Patriots winning?
Okay, I just got a quick thing.
Not surprised.
Yes, in a serious note.
On a sad note, one of our ones from the Southern New York Racing Association, Millie Godfrey, who started the reunions past this past week, and we'd like to send our condolences out to her and her family.
Yes, that's sad news. Naira's been doing great work. You, of course, are involved in that heavily, and I'm sure there'll be something done for her later this year in the fall, right? When
no, actually, that and the wake is tomorrow night at Cornell's, and then the funeral's on Saturday at Worcester. So.
Okay, well, we're sorry to hear that
right,
news.
so
Also,
we're
we were sorry to hear Frank Robinson, the all-time Hall of Famer, passed away today as well. But the Patriots win, so that's that. Take care. We'll see you next week.